guys, Chase back again, and I'm excited to do a little van tour. So a lot of you guys have probably seen my car setup, and I've used that a ton in the last year, but I've kind of always wanted a van, and I dreamed about it for quite a long time, and part of the reason why I built the car out was because I just wasn't in a position to get a van, and so I'd been kind of stalling, waiting, and then finally here about 5 months ago I ended up saying, screw it, I'm gonna pull the trigger on a van. I found a pretty inexpensive van and bought it. It was a passenger setup, dirty, old, nothing special. I kind of had a whole checklist in my mind. I think a lot of people do, of brand new Sprinter, 4-wheel drive, high roof, all the cool stuff, but I didn't want to wait much longer, and so I ended up just going with the cheaper option. I figured it'd be a good go around to get some practice with the build, and then put it to use, gain some skills in the building process, and then maybe learn a little bit about what I do and don't like, and then sell it once I was done. So here it is. Got this thing. I actually bought it about 5 months ago, and my intention was to build it out this coming summer, and so it was just sitting in my driveway for a while, and then long story short, I'd thought about renting out my house, and then ended up doing it much sooner than I expected. And so I kind of had a crammed, I ended up building this whole thing out in 3 weeks while also working. And so I wasn't able to get a lot of footage of the build process, unfortunately, but I have a little bit, and maybe I'll throw together something if I have enough to kind of show the build process. But anyways, here it is. It's a quick go. Built it out in about 3 weeks, super simple. And then I have now been living in it full time for, next weekend will be 3 months. And still working, been doing a lot of boondocking. Sadie and I are getting ready for our wedding next weekend. And so it's been just a lot of work and then preparation there and trying to get things squared away. So it's really just been a solid home base for me. Don't have to mow a yard, do, all the house stuff right now since I'm living in that thing. So just been working, doing that, and enjoying myself. And then here in about a week, Sadie and I will be in it full time. This in the car will kind of be bouncing back and forth depending on the trip. I'd imagine long trips will be into the car. Shorter trips around, when we're around home and I'm at work, we'll be in this thing. So let's take a look. Okay, let's talk about the van. Actually, let's talk about that thing. Got a new pup. Well, actually, Sadie's parents got it, and so it'll be our friend whenever we're in town. I think she's a little upset right now. We locked her inside so she doesn't run away when we're shooting this. But yeah, so that'll be a part of a lot of our adventures from now on. And yeah, van wise, this thing is a 2009 Econoline E150. Bought it with about 160,000 miles, so a little bit higher. And unfortunately, pretty much immediately, I had some mechanical issues that I ended up having to chase down. Had some friends, fortunately, who've helped me a bunch with that, which has been awesome. That was part of the reason I got this thing too, is I've always been fairly fortunate with the vehicles that I've had, and that I haven't had to do a ton of repair work. And so I think I'm a little bit deficient there. And so this was kind of a way to, bring that on, and it happened a little sooner than I expected. But anyways, up and running now, and learned a little bit in the process. So it's Econoline. It has the 4.6 V8, which is not fast, but it's okay. I come from a Subaru anyways. And then let's see, we can go around back. So it's the passenger version. It's 2-wheel drive, and that's rear wheel. So not awesome for snow, but came with a set of studded snow tires actually, so that'll be nice. And it also came with some sweet body work needs. There's some good scrapes on the side and whatnot, but it's not a beauty queen, so I didn't expect it to be perfect. So I'll show you the back first, and then we'll kind of go into the front. So back here, we've got, oh, hey dude, don't jump off, stay up there. So this is the back side of the bed right here, and I've got storage kind of sliding in underneath the bed itself. I thought about putting drawers in. Maybe I will eventually, I don't know. But for right now, it actually works pretty well. Over here, I've got just a loose bin where I put boots, shoes, extra stuff there. And then in this middle section, I've got this bin, which you might recognize this. This is what I bring in my car as well. And so my thought was I'd just kind of swap my essential gear, I guess, the camp chairs and table and jet boil and medical kit, all that type of stuff. So this is kind of the bulk. No, don't jump down here. Hey, let's go ahead. There, good doggy. No, careful. And yeah, so this is kind of all the essentials that I take with me on top of what's like in my backpacking bag. You are flirting with the edge, homie. And then up here underneath, if you kind of look in here, it tunnels quite a ways back. And I've got a spare backpack there and then a sandbag in case I want to work out while I'm out on the road or camping or whatever. So that's pretty much it for that side. Then over here, it's the same type of compartment. And I just keep, you know, some camera gear here, climbing gear, toolbox for now until I ensure this thing is up and running just fine. And then over on the side, because it's the passenger version of the van, it has a built-in AC and heater blower unit back here. And so that's actually kind of nice because it blows air. I have it blowing air straight up right here. And so I threw some hooks in on the back here to where I can, you know, maybe hang up some wet shirts or hats or whatever, and then the air will kind of blow that around. So, okay, buddy, we're gonna shut this back up before you jump out. Alrighty, yeah, let's shoot around to the side now. Okay, look out, homie. Okay. We go inside now. Got the, hey, hello. Okay, you can run free. Good jump. Normally I leave this door shut, and this is kind of a storage area back here, but I'll open it for now. Make sure nothing falls out. So if it's not too bright. So I kind of store my shoes right there, some Crocs, the essentials, and then inside I got my flooring. It's just standard, you know, house flooring picked up from Home Depot. Put that in, then put some nice stair step edging down. Made it meld nice with the existing step, and so that was convenient. And then this was all seats back here. Had 2 rows of seats, so I pulled those things out. Ended up having to do a bunch of cleaning work on the base to get it all rust free and painted over. And then I put down some insulation and then some plywood and then the flooring on top of that, and cut the old carpet off right there, and so it kind of goes nicely into the carpet up front. And that was it for the floor. And the floor is the only straight thing in this entire van as far as the build is concerned. And that wasn't bad to make, but everything else just felt like I was like carving things in order to make it fit to the walls and whatnot. But I think it turned out pretty good. So come on in the front door. So right here is the kitchenette area. I've got my little sink here. It's just a hand pump faucet. And the goal with this whole van was to build it as simply as possible, I guess, to where I kind of had the minimum amenities, but also, you know, low maintenance and also inexpensive. And so I kind of went with, you know, the cheaper, more manual options for the most part. And yeah, so that's the sink. Got a nice, cool little brass or copper, whatever that is, sink. Looks sweet. And then got our candle that will sit out there, and then our nice little decoration area, make it feel like home. Hopefully these don't fall off and explode. And then I store my camera bag up here. So this is just my backpack, and I keep my all my camera gear and my laptop in here. And then that stays right there, and I'll usually take that with me wherever I go, since that's all the expensive stuff I have in here. Then under the sink, I've got a little soft cooler. This is just food storage. And then beyond that, I've got this is my cooking pan for my stove. I also have a camp stove in the back, like a 2-burner stove. I don't use it very much. In fact, I haven't used it like at all. But that's a pan for that. And then this is my water system here. And so if you come look up under there, I've got a 6-gallon water jug here. And it's strapped in to keep it from going crazy. And I'll show you how it's tied in. So I've just got some hose here going into the top, cut a hole in the top, and then I couldn't figure out a way to get the hose to go to the bottom and, you know, so that it sucks all of the water before it starts sucking air without, you know, it kind of curving back up. And so what I finally came up with was, this is the spout that comes with the jug itself for pouring. But I found this little, this piece. I've never messed with, well, really any plumbing before, but this is a toilet component. Somewhere back in the tank, they use this. I bought it new from Home Depot. So that is what I use, and it's about perfect length. It reaches right down to the bottom, and so I get pretty much all the water out of this jug before it starts sucking air. And once it's empty, just pull it out, bring it into house, store, wherever, and fill it back up with water, and that'll last me, I don't even know, about a week. I pretty much only use it for, you know, drinking water, coffee, and brushing my teeth. So that straps back in there. Do that later. And then as far as gray water goes, I want to keep it super simple. For the most part, the water that comes out of here pretty much always goes into either a bottle for drinking or else a cup for, you know, making coffee or something. And then if I am washing something, I'll usually just try to throw it out the door. And so because of that, I didn't need much gray water space, and so I just did this little tiny jug here. So I did this flex hose tubing, not sure what it's called, into a little chunk of PVC, and that just slips into a hole that I cut into that jug. And so when it gets full, I just pull this thing out, and then I lift this up right here and slide this thing out, and then I can just pour this thing on the ground. And this is probably only, I don't know, 2 gallons. Don't need much though. Haven't even filled it up yet. So that is the water system. And then I keep a cutting board there. Really simple. And then I also forgot to mention, I've got a fire extinguisher up here behind the seat that is just bolted onto the front of this cabinet system. So then I got a little pull-out tabletop for working on eating, and drawers with all of the main essentials. Got my coffee grinder, AeroPress, all the good stuff, some bowls and some cups back there, and yeah, just a bunch of utensils in there. And then down here, I've got a bunch of different bars and snacks and whatnot, and then my little hot water kettle, expandable. I use this pretty much every single day to make coffee. So it collapses down and lives in there. And then I've got my, well, I'll finish showing you the storage in the bed and then show you the kind of the simple electrical that I have. And these are soft close drawers too, so I didn't want to have to put latches on, and I was trying to figure out a way to do that. And so what I did was I got drawer slides that are the soft close style, and so they have kind of like a back tensioner to where they kind of pull the drawer in the last little bit it goes. And so when I set them, I put them a little bit too far in to where they can never fully close, and that forces tension onto the drawer, and so it's kind of sucked in like that. And I haven't had any issues yet, you know, with them coming open, because there's that little tension there. And then once you break that, it's nice. So that was my way of getting around having to put latches on those. So then back here, we've got my battery bank, and I'll talk about the electrical in a second. Got a little storage compartment down here, and that's where I keep a lot of my other camera gear that I don't need often. Just lives down in there. And then right here, I've got my seat. This is a nice little addition. I've actually used that quite a bit just for making coffee and whatnot. And under this, I have all of my clothes storage. And so this, yeah, all my clothes go in here. And this actually goes about another foot beyond this wall underneath there. And this bottom piece right here is a big bin. And so that can slide completely out, and I can set that, you know, up on the table or outside or on a chair or something. And then it leaves a big platform. So there's about a 7-foot long platform right here then that somebody could put their feet in there and their head up here if I was going out with a buddy or somebody else, you know, tall, or we just had a third person for some reason. So got a third sleeping spot in an Econoline, which I was pretty happy about. So that's my clothes storage. And then over here, I've got my overhead cabinets. Just have a sleeping bag in here. This is where all Sadie's clothes will go. We're gonna see if she can take on the challenge of fitting all of her clothes up in here. I mean, I think she can do it. We'll see. And under the bed here, we've got some more storage. So I just kind of keep water bottles, bags, and then I have a ton of dehydrated meals in here because, well, backpacking, and if I'm lazy, just make those instead. We like to share those. Sometimes we'll do one of those with some tortillas or something, and it's a good solid meal, and it's actually not that expensive if you compare it to eating out. So that's kind of the general overview. Got some hooks over here. As far as the electrical system goes, I wanted to keep it very simple just because one, I have zero electrical experience, and so I didn't want to hire somebody, and it was time compressed, so I just wanted to keep it simple. So what I ended up going with was, you might have seen my other videos, I have the smaller Jackery battery, and I have loved that in my car. It charges when I drive, and then I use it to charge all my camera gear, my phone, stuff like that at night, and it's been awesome. I've used that for the last year about now. And so I ended up getting the biggest, well, at the time the biggest, it's the 1000 battery, because it has the inverter inside of it, and it has a ton of outlets, and it'll do up to 1000 watts at 110 volt. And it has 3 outlets to do that, and so that's been awesome. I use my water kettle every single morning, plug it into that. I'm able to make coffee. Then I also have USB-C and just standard USB 3.0 outlets there, and then the 12 volt outlet. And so the way I have this set up is, this thing is sufficient to manage whatever I need to do for about I'd say about 4 days, and that's about perfect because that's, you know, usually the longer extent of my trips right now, at least between, you know, work. And so that's great. So I don't actually even charge this on a daily basis. I can just you know, run it for when I'm out and about. And then when it does run low, I have 3 ways of charging it. The first is off of a 12 volt from the van itself. And so I have an outlet right back here, and I have a charger line back into this box. And so that can plug right in, and then I can charge off of the van's battery when I'm driving or when I'm stopped. And so that'll help recharge this. Or I can plug in just a standard wall outlet and plug this into, you know, an outlet at a coffee shop or at work or whatever. And then the third way is using solar panels, and I've got 2 of their 100 watt fold out solar panels. And those have been awesome. They're temporary ones, so they live inside. And I don't use them that often, but if I'm gonna be at like a coffee shop for a long time and I'm running low, or else at work or whatever, I can just toss them out on top of the van or beside the van, and then it'll, you know, feed this thing and fill it back up. And yeah, so that's how I can recharge it. And the system that I'm using is pretty much, I've got this 112 volt outlet. It goes into a little, call it a junction box here. It's just a you know, a splitter, and then it goes up to a fuse box. I've got a light switch here. It's a twist knob, dimmers. I've got my LED lights on both sides, front and back, and then also have this RV fan set up in it. And so I can, you know, turn it on from right here. And this fan, it's the Max Fan something. I'll put a link to everything that I can in the description. But this fan has a built-in, it's not, well, I guess it's kind of a thermostat. It's a 78 degree hold. So anytime it gets above 78 degrees, it'll kick on and bring it back down and then turn itself off when it gets there. You can't adjust that temperature, but it has that. And then it also has a rain sensor. So if you do leave it open running and it starts to rain, it'll sense that and close itself, turn itself off. And then it also has the ability to reverse the fan direction. And so with this van being a passenger one, the windows on the side can flip open. And so depending on what I need, I can, you know, have it either, you know, suck air out the top, or else blow it in and then out, you know, other outlets in the van. And yeah, so that has been very necessary, since I don't have like onboard AC when the car's or the van's not running. And it's also dark color, so it gets really hot in the sun without that. So that's that. And then I also have the 12 volt outlet here, or refrigerator over here. And I just got this a few weeks ago. I thought I was going to use a cooler, and I did that for about, I don't even know, it wasn't that long before I realized that I did not want to deal with ice in day-to-day life over and over, and the moisture that comes, and, you know, wet cardboard boxes, food, whatever. And so I ended up getting this Ice Co. I forgot the model. I think it's about 40 liters. I can look that up and link it as well. And it has been an awesome addition. It plugs in over here as well, runs off of 12 volt, very low output. So I turned it on this morning and it was warm. Brought it down, you know, when I got off work, brought it down to 39 degrees. I don't know what you're supposed to keep a refrigerator at, but that's what I've been doing. And when it fires up the compressor, I think it draws like 40 watts. And right now it's reading at 2. And yeah, so very low output. And it just holds and flips open. And then inside, you've got, you know, a little room for food and drinks. And this back here is a little, yeah, nice, cool area. So this has been nice. I'm excited to put this through the paces. Yeah, it's just nice to have dry food when I'm out and not have to worry about ice melting and all the water and condensation, everything making a big mess. So that's the simple overview. I'm gonna do another video a little bit more in depth on the specifics of this setup. So if you want to watch that, I'll once I get it done, I'll link it here. And one thing I forgot to mention is the curtains up front. And so for the, to keep the light out, because I've been in town a lot recently, just in like subdivisions, at the gym, you know, just trying to work during the day and then sleeping here on my days off. And so I put these curtains up, and they're just on paracord. I got these little eye bolts that I screwed in, 2 on each side and then 1 in the middle, since it's kind of convex. And so I want to bring it up. And so these curtains come out to here. Got one on both sides. And that blocks it out nice. And then I took them all down because we're out here and it looks, or it's a lot nicer without them in, but I have reflectics in all of the windows. And so, well, I guess I can show you one of them. It's the same thing that I've used in my car. It's a little like audio cut out there. So same thing I've got in my car. And oh, this thing just kicked on. So the refrigerator it'll kind of sleep when it's at its temperature, and then when it, you know, I think raises up a little bit, the compressor will turn on, cool it back down, and it is extremely quiet. I've never had a refrigerator other than in my house before, but this thing is like really quiet, and that was one of the things I read in the reviews also. So that's pretty nice. And then yeah, it's drawing 52 watts right now at while it's cooling itself down, and that's in max mode. So I think eco will do a little slower draw even. But anyways, the window coverings, I'll show you how this one goes into the window. It cut them all so that they're just slightly bigger than the opening in the window. And let's see, this goes like that. And just kind of set it in, and then it stays in place pretty well. And it blocks out pretty much all the light. Keeps, you know, gives you good privacy, and then it also is really good at protecting from radiant heat, you know, from the sun, keeping it a little bit cooler inside, and then I guess a little bit warmer in the winter as well. So that's the Vantor. If you have any other questions or anything else you want to see, let me know. This was, yeah, it was a fun build. It was a bit frustrating at times just because of the challenge of all the curves and whatnot, but I had fun, and I was lucky to have some friends who had some good input on the, you know, on the build itself, and then especially repairing the van when it broke down on me a couple times. And so yeah, it's been awesome. I'm sure you'll see a little bit more of this in the future, but the car will not be going away, so don't worry about that. And you'll also see some more of this little guy too, huh? What you doing? You bored? Yeah. See some more of her. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.
Get him. Get him.